What is public relations? Our goal is to define the practice of public relations, to understand the value of it, and to explore publics of public relations. After this video guide, please continue reading the attached reading materials on Laulima. First, to understand the function of public relations in today's society, it is important to understand the definition of it. What is public relations and what professionals do? Here are some definitions from the previous studies. For example, Sato defined it as a planned process to influence public opinion through sound character and proper performance, based on mutually satisfactory two-way communication. Even though scholars use different definitions, they have a similar keyword among them, such as planned communication process or mutually beneficial relationship. Coombs and Halliday also defined it as the management of mutually beneficial relationships within a web of stakeholder and organizational relationships. Public Relations Society of America, the largest professional organization, also defines it as a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. For your information, Public Relations Society of America, PRSA, is a community of more than 21,000 public relations and professionals across the United States, from recent graduates to the leaders of the world's largest multinational firms. Its members represent nearly every practice area and professional and academic setting within the public relations field. According to the scholars, management is one of the main functions of public relations, helping organizations to design and develop public messages and to maintain relationships with their publics. They view public relations practitioners as a middle person between organizations and its public. To understand the value of public relations, you may think about some examples in the media, how a public relations profession is described. In the movie Hancock, for example, a public relations practitioner was hired to identify current problems of the main character in the movie and to establish a communication plan to recover his reputation. Not only this, there are numerous examples of public relations jobs in television programs or movies. This is a research paper studied presentations of the profession from the recent movies and television shows. Some of the findings were the only press agent whose stock in trade was outrageous publicity stunt, and ballyhoo is one of the oldest and enduring images of a public relations profession. Publicity men and women who would do anything to get their client to publicity and to protect their client in crisis situations. Public relations professionals sometimes is described as a hero who rebel against unethical practices and would quit his or her job before doing something immoral. But also sometimes public relations professionals described as true villain who would step on anything, do anything, lie, cheat, or steal to protect a client image. I attached this research paper to Laulima, so please read the article and answer to the discussion questions on Laulima discussion forum. The profession of public relations is most developed in the US as a million-dollar business. There are more than 200 colleges and universities offering public relations-related degrees. Then why public relations become important in today's society? There's a lot of information nowadays around us from various organizations, so communicators must deliver persuasive and believable messages to their publics to distinguish their messages from others. Public relations do various jobs for organizations. Practitioners do writing, media relations, social media management, crisis communication, and so forth. Research, planning, communications, dialogue, and evaluation are also all essential practice of public relations. But please remember those important keywords to define public relations. This is one of the definitions mentioned earlier. Public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. There are several different public relations models. For example, Marston's four-step model, called as RACE, Preface's Lossy model, Hendricks Rope, and Kelly's Ropes model. Even though there are some minor differences among them, all of those models have research as the first step and evaluation as the last one. Today's every organization has public relations or communication professionals for their business, and the professionals do interpretations, organization philosophies, policies, programs, and they do the management function of the business. They also convey attitude of the public to the management. This means public relations practitioners play a role as a middle person between the organization and their publics. Then who are the publics? When designing messages, practitioners should consider their target audiences, in other words, publics. Public is not a single group of people. An organization has several different groups of people who are engaged with the organization. They may include individual customers, media groups, competitors, activist groups, or internal employees. Before planning a campaign or before designing any communication messages, it is important to know who are the publics. There are different ways you could identify different publics. Some typical ways to categorize their publics are to distinguish them into internal or external groups, or into primary, secondary, or marginal groups. And after identifying their publics, it is also important to study about the situations and issues the organizations are facing with. This process is called as situational analysis. Research skills are necessary for practitioners to learn about the issues and problems that the organization needs to deal with. To do a successful public relations practice, practitioners should have certain required skills listed here. This is from a study of agency, corporate, and nonprofit public relations leaders in 2004, and they reported these 7 areas for a successful public relations career. For communications, professionals should practice the belief that the public has the right to know. Advocacy, public relations people must believe in their employers and stand up for what their employers represent. Counseling orientation, they should have a compelling desire to advise senior managers. Ethics, the counsel the public relations professionals deliver must always be ethical. And the practitioners must be willing to take a risk and keep the positive outlook and attitude. Finally, scholars and practitioners emphasized certain list of desired technical skills here for public relations practitioners. That include knowledge of the field, communication knowledge, technological knowledge, current event, business management knowledge. Now, please read the attached reading materials and answer to the discussion questions on La Lima.